Okay, so we're continuing with different exercises, working towards building up our surface exploration. So, as you can see, this project we're working sort of flat, just because we can limit ourselves then to just looking at different techniques and then apply them later on in our artwork. Last time I've showed you this book, I'm pretty sure. Okay, and we've got a different type of things happening here, from just collaging to things like photo transfers. And hopefully that gives you a bit of understanding of how and what we can do. Notice that lots of this work is very layered, okay? Meaning that working towards a finished, accomplished result, you're not using just one technique, you're using quite a lot of different techniques. Okay. Also notice that quite a lot of this work is united in color scheme. So from people who are very colorful to people who've got a limited amount of color. Okay. To people going very monochromatic. Strongly encourage you to flick through it just for the inspiration. One of the techniques that I've mentioned is photo transfer. And last time I've seen you, I've asked you to pick up some of the pieces of printed photos and just put a layer of medium that is based for acrylic. I've also asked you to sort of like mark them to make it easier later on for yourself. Okay, so today's exercise, it's all about trying how the photon transfer works with different mediums. First thing you will need to do, you will need to take a piece of paper and cover some of it, half of it, in acrylic. Okay? Why half? Because I want you to try the same technique on both. A surface that it's painted, a surface that it's not painted. So you can feel and see what is happening and how it's reacting. Any light paint, so you can actually see your transfer easier. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to point up one thing for you. We've got acrylic paint here set up for you, but also there is a gesso. They look exactly the same because they're white. They've got a different chemical component. This is used to prep your canvas and your MDF. This is a paint, so use acrylic paint, okay? Because this is not going to give you exactly the same surface as acrylic paint, okay? So double check. Okay, so after you've got it done like that, I would like you to explore 3 different mediums that are used by artists for transferring or adding to paint or sealing and sticking things on. Okay, so I've got just normal white glue, PVA glue. I've got a Mod Podge. Lots of crafters use Mod Podge. And I also got an acrylic medium. Okay, and I've got pieces of my photograph that I'm going to transfer that already had 1 layer of the medium. And I'm going to have pieces that don't have any layer of the medium. Okay, so on your paper, okay, when you've got half painted, half not, you will need to try both of those, okay? Sorry, both of those with acrylic medium and without acrylic medium, using different type of bonding. Okay, so you will end up with Mod Podge. You will end up with medium, and you will end up with PVA glue. Okay, makes sense? Okay, how it looks, is it perfect? Did you cut it straight? Did you make it nice, or did you just make it a tiny bit of paper? It's not going to affect you. In terms of grade, it's just more for you to explore it, what's happening.
But in the true project, we have to.
In the true project, this is exercise, okay? So it's all about recognizing and trying the technique, okay? When we're going to do a final piece, of course, you know, that's a different story. Make sense? All right. So, 3 different mediums, very easy. You take your artwork, or sorry, picture that you're going to transfer. You take the medium, you take a small amount of medium, okay, and you stick it. Okay. Do not put another layer of the medium glue or Mod Podge on the top of it. You just need to actually make sure that it's sticking to the surface. You can do it in 2 different ways. The way that I've done it, but then you've got some medium on the surface, or you can just grab something that is a bit smaller. You can use some newsprint to cover your table. Oops, that's the wrong way. To cover your table, okay? Apply your layer on your image there, and then stick it properly, okay? Gives me much nicer finish on the artwork. So far, so good, okay? While you're doing this, because they all just look the same, and your mediums look the same, make sure that you've got a pencil and you start actually annotating them. So you can see here that I've annotated it straight on paint. So I've put I stick a piece that didn't have a medium, and I stick it straight on paint. Okay? This one I could say, no paint, medium, gel. Okay? Because I'm putting it on the side that doesn't have any paint. This is a piece that I've already put some medium on top, and my bounding is gel. Okay? Yeah? Make sense?
I'm a little confused.
Okay.
So we're gonna have pictures with medium and without,
Yes.
and we're gonna divide, before we divide the paper with a glue, Mod Podge, and the medium, we're gonna paint one half.
Correct.
Okay. And we
Okay.
will layer the mediums on top of the paint, and
Okay. So yes, this is just a bit of a mess because I'm just a messy person. But in the moment, I'm going to get a magic tool. So imagine that this is your paper. This is your trial, your exercise. Okay? Half of it is painted, yeah? There is no paint, okay? So you're trying, let's say you're trying medium. Okay, so you're trying here the one that has a medium, the one that doesn't have a medium. Without paint, the one that has a medium, the one that doesn't have a medium, yeah? Okay. Then you're moving to a different one, Mod Podge. Okay, and you're doing exactly the same. Okay, and then you go to the PVA.
So we do with both glues.
Hmm?
So we try with both glues, one with Mod Podge and then the other with.
We're trying with 3. With the acrylic medium, with the PVA, with the Mod Podge. Okay? One that had a ceiling of the medium, one that didn't have
I
a
have
ceiling.
a question. How long does the sealing medium take to dry?
Very, very good question. It's going to take to dry properly few hours unless you use the hairdryer. Okay? Hence, I would say do this. It's not going to take you a long time. You just need to annotate it properly. You can hairdry it a bit, put it on the window, go back to your sketchbook, improve your sketchbook, okay? Or do something from the next reading for this class, okay? And in the half an hour, come back and do the second part of the work, okay?
I have a question.
Sure.
You said we're gonna have like maybe about 6 pieces with the medium and 6 pieces without the medium.
Yes.
Right? And we both experiment with them.
Yeah.
So the one on top, even if the paper that does not have the medium, we put it on top of it.
Correct. So you don't do the sealing on the top of your paper, and I'll show you exactly in a moment why.
Okay.
Okay? But you try different options just so you can understand the difference it's going to make.
Okay.
Okay? Yep.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love
How
questions.
are we supposed to stick the one without the paper?
Okay, simply, it doesn't have any medium now. Okay, you didn't put any medium on it last class. Okay, so if you look at those two, one has a medium, one doesn't have a medium. You
Okay.
see?
Yeah.
Okay, so one already had a layer of the medium, one didn't. Okay, make sense now?
Yeah.
After your work is dry, so after you let it to dry, okay, then the fun part comes in, okay? So you can see here, this is the piece that I've put on yesterday, okay? And I'm going to now try to start my photo, try to see what was the result with my photo transfer, okay? So I'm going to make it damp because I'm trying to remove the layer of the paper, and let's see how well that works and how well I've managed to transfer the image. Okay, so now that this is a bit wet, I need to wait for it a bit. You should experiment with the amount of water you add into it and the amount of pressure that you're going to start adding on the image. Okay. So what I'm doing now, I'm just very gently rubbing my image to get off the paper.
I wonder what happens if we add more than just one layer of
Underneath or on the top?
on the top.
On the top, if I will start rubbing it, I've already got it sealed, so it's like rubbing on the paint. Acrylic medium, and to some extent a PVA, okay, it's a sealer, so it's a chemical that is inside of your paint, just doesn't have any color, okay? So this is what binds your pigments, okay? So it's transparent. So if you would rub on the piece of acrylic on the artwork, you wouldn't rub it because it's already sealed.
Right.
Okay, you can put it and try and see how that works. But it's always great to experiment more. When you're doing it, I encourage you to try different pressures, different amount of water, and don't worry if you start getting problems, because you will start getting problems, because not all of the mediums will react exactly the same. Also, physically, you want to find the balance between how much rubbing is enough and how much rubbing is too much to uncover your image. You can see here some of my previous attempts, and you can see how different the result can be. Here is just exactly the same image, just with the different applications, okay? Rub too much. Maybe one medium is better than another medium, okay? I want you to find out exactly the difference.